Hi, my name is John Liu, Flow Ninja, and today I want to do a video on how to create custom SharePoint lists in one action, using one action, and we're going to use ExecuteSiteScriptAction in Microsoft Flow. The inspiration for this came from a tweet a few days ago when I was exploring a new feature in SharePoint that allows us to select an Excel spreadsheet and create a SharePoint list from the Excel spreadsheet. So I was poking around and looking around what APIs it was calling, and I came across two. The first one is one called ExecuteSiteScriptAction, which allows us to call a whole bunch of APIs as part of the site design and site script processes. So we'll be looking at that explicitly. Now we have this one action that calls a site script to create the SP list, and then there's various sub actions in it to create different fields. You can see here a field ID is not required and it's added to the default field and so on, and whether we want to enforce uniqueness on it as well. So there's a whole bunch of and these defined field types and so on. And also there is a source metadata that was tagged to it that says this list was created from a source of Excel, and this was the file that it came from. So that's all pretty interesting. Now today's YouTube will be about how do we call that from Flow. There is a second action which is about actually inserting the rows that happen after the list has been created. This uses SharePoint batch and is inserting a series of rows in one call. And using SharePoint with batch is something, and within Flow is something that I've talked about several times in different conferences and recordings, so check those out. But today's video will be primarily about creating this list with a custom schema that we want. So do follow me on Twitter, John N. Liu. And before we go to the actual demo, I do want to call out that right now we are there is a global protest going on for Black Lives Matter. And I just want to stand as an ally and support that Black Lives does matter, and it is unjust for a group of people to be targeted like this, and it is unjust. And I'm an Asian that in a way lives with the privilege, even if you can call that, of not being attacked by police officers. And that, to me, this systematic prejudice against a group of people is not what I expect of Western values. So I stand and call out that this is wrong, and I would like to see change. Ultimately we do tech, but tech is about people, and it is about right and wrong. And Black Lives Matter. Sorry, let me move on. Okay. Now, popping over to site design and site script. In site design and site script are scripting and design using a simple JSON definition that is part of the modern SharePoint. So modern SharePoint since about 2018, we've seen a lot of improvements in the provisioning process. So it is a bit of scripting, but not as heavy as maybe using code. So we will have a look at that. And the site script does have various JSON references, and there are a bunch of different verbs that can be used. So there is a create SP list, and what's this one? Create SP list, creates a list, and it has a sub action of setting a description to that. So that looks useful. So we'll create custom list. So let's copy that. In fact, let's kind of keep a few running examples as we go, because I noticed the nodes are kind of everywhere. So let's just keep a running example as we go. And we do need a new file, and it's gonna actually be JSON. So we're gonna just start with that guy. We do like that. So that's a custom list type 100, and then we're gonna set a description. Let's set description, and then there are these ones that are called add SP field. Add SP field allows, okay, one of these types. You can also use the SP field XML if you want very custom. Okay, in optional internal name. Okay, is required. Add to unique is unique. Okay, so we might copy one of these and put that in here. Okay, so we can set description and we're gonna add this one field. Now, do we need this ID? ID is a randomly generated GUID. Oh, providing a value is recommended to ensure the field isn't added multiple. Oh, okay, so the script can be rerun. Oh, that's interesting. So we should use our own IDs in case when the script reruns, then it won't re-add the field, which is useful if you say in the future want to say, oh, let's add a second field here. Oh, let me get rid of that. So we want to go custom, I don't know, custom again 2. Then if we have a different GUID, they will not collide with each other. We'll get a second field. Okay, got it. That's very cool. Internal name. Internal name is very useful usually. So internal name is the name that we see, you know, the one that's like customer name and customer name 2. Yeah, that's the system name. So when we use JSON, that's the name that we're gonna see. So give that a nice name. If we don't, it's gonna be generated from display, and sometimes it has funny characters for spaces. Okay, is there any more? Oh, there's the example of an XML. Okay, so the XML field type is for field types that are not available in the simple form using the add SP field. And the example here they have is the choice field, of course. So okay, let's just copy that bit as well. And we're just gonna have a quick look. So this is the old SharePoint days where we use so we're gonna borrow that ID again. We're just gonna make the ID kind of related, but this is C. Does it need to be okay? Okay, and then the type is choice, display is category. Okay, maybe let's call that customer category. Require false, format is drop down, static name, so that's probably the internal name. It's just, and the name is default. Okay, so operations, IT, legal, engineering. Cool, that looks cool. Let's do that. And then any more? So there is also a SP lookup field. So if you want to do a lookup, so where your list is a lookup to another list, do that as well. You can also add SP side column. So if you define a side column first and then add them to a list, extremely useful if you have the same columns and you want to use them in different lists. Super cool. Add content type. Okay, so the whole gang is here, and you can also define fields. We can also define fields for them. So there are a few more crazier customizers. So okay, we can add field customizers. So when you're filtering by that field, you get a slider rather than just a field. That's so cool. We might just copy. Let's just copy these two fields as well, because we are in the mood of adding lots of different custom columns. I'm not actually going to do the custom slider. We're just going to add the field. That's probably enough. Now if I have a quick look at SP. So in the documentation, there's all these site script actions, commands that we can call on REST. What is interesting is the one that I'm looking for, which is execute site script actions, is not here. So that's quite interesting. So grabbing that name again, execute site script action. So Googling that, I came across a place where that's referenced, which is down here. This is part of the PMP.js. It is a wrapper helper library that allows us to call many of these actions. So there is reference to the execute site script action, so it's definitely there. But this is part of the library, and this is not exactly the REST code itself. What this does tell me is that it does exist and it is being used. So we will go ahead and do this hack. Now we need a few pieces. So we got enough of the JSON, I believe, to go ahead. Do we need this heading? I do not know. Let's have a look. So we need action definition, SP list. So let's have a look at what we have. We have, okay, so we need something on the outside that seems to be called action definition. Yeah. So that looks like what that is. Create SP list with the list name, some sort of type, sub actions, which is where I got all my verbs. That looks pretty good to me. And we're gonna call this URL. So let's pop over to our flow, and we are going to do SharePoint and send HTTP request to SharePoint. I'm also going to do a compose here. Compose, and I'm just pasting the big JSON. So the big JSON that I've been typing up, I pasted in here, and this one's gonna be called the create SP list definition. Maybe I should call it action definition. Anyway, it's yeah, it's that. So just mapping what I'm seeing here. The request payload itself is the JSON, so we should be able to just throw that in here directly. It is. So I had this site called guest. So okay, so here's our guest. Very simple site. Let's do it here. Guest. It is a post method. It is API, and we're gonna have to do this. Yeah, just double Microsoft SharePoint utilities. Oh dear. Bad SharePoint spelling. Right, Microsoft.SharePoint.utilities.webTemplate.extensions .sitescript utility web extension sitescript utility. We don't have that. Oh, we do. Sitescript utility, very good. Execute sitescript action. What else? I don't have the header. Execute sitescript action. Where is the REST request? A REST request is calling, what does it need? Content type is standard. I will do a set minimal. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Create list, custom list via site script action. Fingers crossed. Oh, the code failed, and why is it upset? An unexpected start was reading from the JSON. A primitive no was expected. Primitive no was expected. Unhappy start object was found when what's going on? Sub-actions. Oh, here's what's going on. The action definition thinks of this as a string. So the action definition itself just wants a big string. Got it. Okay, so let's go back. We did this wrong. So first of all, we're still going to do, okay, let's fix this up. So we're gonna undo that bit and put that back. So firstly, we have this. Now the action definition is just a big string. So that is going to be like so. And we're gonna format this document, make it nicer. We're gonna put that here and just say, here's the actual JSON of the definition. And then we're gonna create the actual value that they want, which is this. We wanted action definition, and that's actually a string. Yeah, action definition, and see, this is a big string. So that was where I messed up. And then here we're gonna have to type a bit of an expression here. So let's just force it to string if it's not string. We're gonna force that to be a string. So that's a big string, and that's gonna be called action definition. We're actually gonna do that. That's a big string now, and we're gonna send that through here. Action definition. Okay, I think that's better. I think that's what that's after. Let's try that again the third time. Looks slightly better. Oh, wonderful, it came through green. And let's see what the response is. If I refresh. And we see here the custom tracking list with its details. Let's have a quick look. It's got customer tracking, it's got the name. It doesn't have a nice URL. So I don't like that. That's we probably should influence the internal name of the list when we create it. It does have our customer name, customer 2. It has the customer ID, which is the choice list with our choices. Very good. And It has a text number field, those are standard, and it's got it has a default field created, and it's got 4 of our fields already included as part of the default field. Excellent. So let's just try to fix that. That's probably the only one thing I will fix. I wouldn't care about the rest. So let's just, now to fix a URL, really there's no easy way to do it. I'm just gonna delete this list and do it again. And let's pop back here to our definition. List name, let's just call that list title, list customer tracking. Now, can list name have an internal name as well as so list name, and there's another one, set title. List name and then sub actions, okay. Then set title. Here we go. We do have a set title, and we're gonna have to do it that way. Okay. So always a good practice to do it like this. This is good SharePoint practice. Name your list with no spaces, and then change your title afterwards, 2 spaces. Always do this. Otherwise you end up with fields that just have really ugly looking encoded characters like space or worse. So save that, run that again. And if we pop over here to our list, our site, we see the customer tracking. So that has the right title, but you see the list has the underscore in here, so that's wonderful. But it has the right title because we changed the title afterwards. Okay, so I might just cut the video here. That's quite an interesting technique. Had a bit of stumble in the beginning, not understanding that the action definition is a big string, so it should look like this. But the definition itself is a JSON, so use a first compose to build your JSON and see it should be all formatted nicely. Use Visual Studio Code to help, and then using this second compose to create just a pair of one definition with the string, and then we'll call SharePoint to produce the list. The SharePoint creates a list very quickly in one call. Yeah, so there's not a lot to say about that. I didn't really dig that deep into the outcome of this as well. So those are potentially useful information. If some parts were created and other parts weren't, the outcome will probably tell you why or what happened. But I'll just leave that for the very advanced to figure that out. And if you like this video and more videos, remember to like and subscribe. Do support the movement to get to argue for equal rights, or to argue for very basic equal rights for our black and minority groups. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.